Okay, so welcome back to this channel. So now in this video we will discuss that how we can validate our forms with React Hook forms using Zord. So if you don't know, Zord is basically a TypeScript for schema validation package that help us to validate our inputs by making schemas. So I already have a crash course on Zord. I have made an in-depth video on Zord. So I will add the link in the description of this video. You can watch that, and also I will add a I button for this crash course. Okay, so we will use Zord for our schema based validation, and we will use React Hook forms with Zord so that we can get most of it. So now a React Hook form is very popular package that help us to define forms, validate forms, and manage our forms very efficiently. Okay, so now let's start the video and let's see how we can validate our forms both for the client side and then the server side. So I am making this video in Next.js. You can see that this is the Next.js project, and you can get this starter code from this Git repo, which is Zord with React Hook forms, and the branch name is 001 initial code. So I will add this link in the description of this video. You can use that, simply download it or clone this code. Okay, and now let's continue the video. So first of all, this is our Next.js project with Tailwind. If I go to my app, you can see that I have an API folder that contains only one route, which is register. So that just is a simple post request that will basically do nothing, basically just send created true as a response, and we are getting the body of this request. That's it. Okay, we will use that in the video. And next I have a simple form page that just contain a Tailwind form with some fields, name, email, password, confirm password, phone number, and this is a simple form with a use state. You can see that here, and a simple handle change and submit handler. If I start my project just to show you, npm run dev, and if I open this, this is the home page. You can see that I have two options: simple form with use state, and then form with React Hook form and Zord. I will create that in a minute. If I click on this, you can see that this is a simple form with name, email, password, confirm password, and the phone number. Now we have to use this form and convert that simple form, and we have to use React Hook forms with Zord to validate that. Okay, so let's see how we can do that. First of all, let's go back and let's go to the app and create a new folder here. I will call it React-Hook form with Zord. So this is going to be our route, and that I will create my page.tsx file. Okay, let's create a component here that is going to be, let's call it React Hook form with Zord. If I save it, now if I go back, let's go to the home page, and if I click on here, you can see that this is our page. Now let's create our form here and let's see how we can validate that. So first of all, what I will do is I will simply copy first of all the code from here, this JSX. We just need that. Okay, I will copy that, and then I will simply put that here, save it, and that is it. Okay, so now first of all we have to install Zord and then the React Hook forms. So I will simply install that. So I will type here npm I react -hook -form, then Zord, and then we also have to install a package that is called hook form -resolvers. Okay, so we will install these three packages: React Hook forms, Zord, and hook form /resolvers. All right, so now we can move on and continue with our video. First of all, we have to make this component client component. So use client, and then I will get my, I will import here use form from React Hook form. Okay, and with the use form I also need here submit handler from React Hook forms. Okay, and then I will also need here Zord resolver. So remember that we have installed this package that is hook form /resolvers, and in the resolvers we have multiple options. You can use yup and other packages. I will use Zord. Okay, so this will help us to basically use Zord with our React Hook forms. So we need this Zord resolver. Okay, now first of all let's call here use form hook, and now in that we have to pass in here nothing for now, but from here what we will get the register handle submit. Okay, then we will get form state, and from the form state we can get our errors, if there is any error while submitting the form, and is submitting that, if form is submitting or not, it is going to be boolean. Okay, and then we will get in here reset if we want to reset the form after submitting. Okay, and then we can also get in here set error basically function that help us to set the error properties. So we need here register handle submit form state, from which we will get errors and is submitting, then reset to reset the form, and then the set error if we have to set the error messages. And then let's create a submit handler here. So const on submit, so that is going to be submit handler, which is this one, and we will pass in here form data for the type, and that is going to be async function in which we have our data. Okay, so we can console.log in here the data. So this is going to be our submit handler. Okay, now let's scroll down and let's handle this part. First of all, on submit we have to type in here handle submit, which is this one, and in that we have to pass in here our on submit, which is this one. Okay, so this will handle our form submit. Okay, so now we have here some error, submit handler field value, we will handle that later. Now let's move on. We have this register form. First of all, we have this name field, so we don't need here value and on change. Okay, we will remove that, and we just have to add here register, and then we have to pass in here the name field, which is the name of this basically field. Okay, in the same way I will copy that, and we will remove this value and on change, we don't need that. We simply put in here this register and set in here the email. Okay, in the same way we will remove this, and we will add in here password, and then we have here the confirm password. We will remove that and add in here confirm password, and the last field is going to be this phone number, so we will remove this value and on change and simply add our register here, that is going to be phone number. Okay, and at the end we have this submit button. So what we can do here is we can simply check that if is submitting, then we will display here a text that's submitting, otherwise we have to use here ternary operator, otherwise we will show here submit. Okay, and we will also disable this button. I'll type here disabled if it is submitting. Okay, so we just have to add here this register and pass in here our field name like this, and I have used this is submitting for this button. Okay, so for this error actually I will remove this from here for now, and we will handle that later. Now let's create our Zord schema, and we have to pass that in the Zord resolver. First of all, let's check it out. If I remove it from here and type here any for now, save it. Now let's go back, and if I reload this page, so you can see that this is our form. If I type here something like let's say hello@gmail.com, password is going to be this, and let's type here this phone number. If I go to the inspect on the console, click on submit, you can see that here we get here name, password, phone number. We are getting all the values. Okay, so this means that our form is working. We have this register is successfully working. Now we just have to do the validation. Okay, so for the validation I will create a new folder in the root with the name utils, and the utils I will create a new file here that is called Zord schemas.ts. So here I will define my Zord schemas that we will use here to validate our forms. So first of all we have to import z from Zord. So if you don't know, we can do everything with this z in Zord. So now let's define our schema. I type here export const register schema is going to be z dot object. Now in this object we can define all our fields. In this object we can define all our fields that we want to validate. Okay, so first of all we have the name of the user. So I will type here that name. I will use here z dot string, that this is going to be a string and the minimum length of the name should be 3. Okay, so these are the validations. So what I will do here is I will also type here a message that is going to be required error, and I will call it please enter name. If user doesn't pass the name, I will throw this error please enter name. And if for the minimum, I will type here another message that name must be 3 characters. Okay, so this is our first validation for the name, that it must be a string and minimum length should be 3. After the name we have the email. Okay, so for that I will use here z dot string dot email. Okay, so we have in here the email function from Zord that help us to validate the email. We can also pass here required field for this basically email, please enter email like this. Okay, if you pass wrong email, we will simply return a message that please enter a valid email. So this is validation for email, and next we have to define the validation for the password. So definitely that is also going to be string. Okay, and I will also copy this from here just to save some time, that it is going to be a string and please enter password. Okay, and we can define here a minimum length of the password, like min should be 6, and the message is going to be password must be 6 characters. Okay, so this is validation for password. And for the confirm password, we can simply copy this part and we can type in here that confirm password, please enter confirm password. So this is also going to be a string. And now we also have to match that if this password is equal to this password. For that we can use a function from Zord that is called refine. Okay, now we have to use this refine on this object, so we have to chain that with the object. So I will use here dot refine. Okay, so in the refine we will get the data, which is the name, email, password, confirm password. We'll get all data in the refine. Okay, and then we can simply check that from this data, that if data dot password is equal to data dot confirm password, if both are same, then it's fine. Otherwise we have to throw the error message, which is message password does not match. Okay, and then we can also put in here a second value that is going to be path. So for the confirm, we have to throw this error for the confirm password, that password does not match. Okay, again we have to match this password and confirm password. For that we will use this refine function, and we have to chain that with this object. Okay, here we will get all the data that user will enter in the form. So we will check that if that data.password is equal to data.confirm password, then it is fine. Otherwise we will throw the error that password does not match. Okay, so now we are done with the confirm password. Our last field is going to be phone number. So for the phone number, I have to define some validations. So first of all, phone number is going to be a string. Okay, please enter phone number. And then I will use here one more function that is called refine. Okay, like we have used here. So in the refine, I will get the value that user will pass. Oops, we have to cut it from here and put that here. Okay, so in the refine, we will get the value that user will pass in the phone number field. So I can simply check that the value, we will use here regex. Okay, and I will simply type in here that I will start the regular expression with this and then /d. Okay, and then I have to put in here how many digits I am expecting. So that should be 10-digit number. Okay, and put in here $. This means that this expression ends here. Then test this regular expression, pass in here the value, and if it is invalid, then I will throw here a message that please enter a valid phone number. Okay, so first of all, phone number is going to be a string, and then we have to match with this regular expression. You can also use here .regex instead of this refine, but if you want to use refine, you can type here .refine. We will get in here the value, and then we have to put in our regular expression. So we will start the regular expression with this /d, and then we have to put in here 10. That this means that we want 10 digits, and this $, means that this regular expression ends here. Then we will call this .test, that will test this value on this regex and will give us error if doesn't match. Okay, And actually that is it. This is our Zord schema for the register. We have defined the validations for our fields. You can change that if you want. And now we have to use that. Okay, so what I will do here is I have to use that in here. So in the use form, I will simply type here that resolver. So we want to use Zord resolver. So Zord resolver, remember that we have imported the Zord resolver from this hook form slash resolver slash Zord. So in the Zord resolver, we have to pass our schema. So our schema is going to be register schema, and that we have to import from utils slash Zord schema. Okay, and we also have to put in here the type. Okay, and we can get this type from here. I will simply export here a type. Export type sign up schema, that is going to be z.infer. So if you don't know, z.infer will give us the schema. So in that we will simply type here type of this register schema. If I save it from here, and let's use that right here. Again, we can simply use this z.infer that will extract the type from this register schema. Now we can use this type right here. Okay, and now we can also use this sign up schema in here. Okay, so I will type here submit handler, and type is going to be sign up schema, and I will remove this any from here. Okay, so now we have defined our schema. We have our type, which is sign up schema with z.infer that give us the type, and now we have give that resolver right in here. Okay, so now let's log here the errors. Oops, errors. Okay, now let's test it out. If I reload this page, let's go to the inspect on the console. If I click on submit, you can see that here we get here first of all the error for name message. Name must be at least 3 character long. For the email, please enter a valid email address, phone number, and password, and then the phone number. So we have these errors on the log. Now we have to display the errors on the form. Okay, so this is designed with Tailwind. So if I go to this flowbyte.com/docs/components/forms, here I can get the form, and I have to use this field for the error message. Okay, first of all I have to display this error message. So what I will do is I can copy this line from here, copy that, and then I will go under this input. So this is the input field for name, and I have to put that in here, class name, and I will remove this span. Okay, and if I go back, you can see that we get here username already taken, but we have to display our own error message here. So I can simply add here a check that if errors dot name, if we have name error message, then we have to display it. So I will simply put that here, and it is going to be errors dot name dot message. If I go back, you can see that here number must be 3 characters, at least 3 characters. So we are getting here this error message. Now we also have to make this field red. You can see that here. Now to make this red, I have to use these classes. So I will copy these classes from here, copy that, go back, and then what I can do here is, this is the class name for this input. I can simply put in here curly brackets, and let's use here backticks. Okay, I can simply check in here that if errors dot name exist, then we will add these classes like this. Okay, if I go back, and now you can see that this field is red. So again I have checked here that by default I will give these classes. Okay, and I will check that if error dot name exists, then I will add these classes that will make it red. So we are done with this name field. Now in the same way we have to handle that for the other fields. So I will first of all copy this class name, copy that, and I will basically put that here first of all for the email, you can see that we have this red field. And then for the password, so password, and then we have in here the confirm password. And I will scroll down for the phone number as well, put that, and that is going to be phone number. If I save it, now you can see that all fields are red. Now we just have to display this error message. So what I will do is I will copy again this part, copy that, and I will add that after input right here for the email. So now that is email.message. So please enter a valid email. In the same way, I can add in here for password, and then here for the confirm password. Okay, and then at the end, oops, we have in here the phone number. So I will put that here. So that is going to be phone number. So now you can see that here we are getting the proper error messages that number must be at least, name must be at least 3 characters, email, password, and then the phone number. Now let's test the fields. If I type here like, now the error is gone. I type here hello@gmail.com, error is gone. Password is 1 2 3 4 5 6, error is gone. For the phone number, I type here 3 6, and these are 10. So the error is gone. And if I type here like 1 2 3 4 5, the password does not match. Type here 6, now the password matches. This is for the client validation. If I remove anything from here, we will still get the error. So in this way, we can validate our forms with React hook forms and then the Zord. So now we are done with the client side, but what if we get error from the server side? Okay, because in the handle submit, we eventually have to send our data to the backend. So let's see how we can display here server side messages. Okay, so for that, what I will do is I will go in the API in the route.ts. For example, this is the route to register a user. So I will validate this body. Okay, and if there is an error, I will return back the error messages. So let's first of all parse our data. So I will type here const result is going to be, we have register schema, we will import that from utils/zord schema. So now Zord has a function that is called save parse, so that will give us success false and then the error messages if we pass wrong data. So I type here register schema dot save parse and pass in our body that contains the data. Okay, and you can simply check here that if no result dot success, this means that the success is false, there are some error messages. So what I will do here is I will simply console.log the result.error.issues. Okay, so we have issues array in the error that contain all the error messages. So to test that, I will simply go to my here and let's send the request to the backend. So I will simply put in here a try catch block and console.log the error. In the try, const res is going to be await fetch, and on the fetch I will send the request to this route that is going to be http localhost port 3000/API/register. So this is our endpoint, and now in the body we have to pass in our data. Okay, so the method is going to be post. We know that this is a post request, and in the body we have to pass in here json.stringify, and let's actually pass fields one by one. So like name, email, password, and then the phone number, and let's also pass in here the confirm password like this. Okay, so now let's also log here the result. Now let's go to our Chrome, and if I click on submitting, and now if I go back, you can see that here we get here 404 API register. we have to put here double slash. If I go back now, click on submit. So now you can see that here on the back end, this is our result. So success is true. We have our data that contains name, email, password, confirm password, and the phone number. Now data is correct, that's why we get here success true. But what if I pass here, let's not pass here phone number, the name of the user. If I go back, click on submit. Now if I go back, you can see that here we get here error message right here. So success is false, and then we get here Zord error, and the message is please enter name. So now we have to extract this error from this basically issues. So let's do that. So what I will do here is, if there is any error, I will first of all create here let errors is going to be an empty object, and then result dot error dot issues dot for each issue. Okay, I have to get all error messages. So what I will do is, I have to get here the field name, which is this path, which is the name, and then this message. So I will type here that errors is going to be whatever in the errors, I will spread that, and now I have to set key and then the value. So for the key I will use this path, so that is going to be issue dot path of 0, because this path is an array. So we will get here 0, which is the key, which is the name, and now the error message is going to be issue dot this message. Okay, and then I have to return back here. So return next response dot JSON, and I pass in here the errors, and status code is 400, which is bad request. Okay, so now if I save it from here, and now let's test it out. So I will go to the inspect on the console. Now if I click on submit, you can see that here we get an error message that 400 bad request. Okay, and if I go here in the page.tsx, I will check that after this res. So const response data is going to be await res dot JSON. Okay, and then I will log in here this response data. If I save it, and now let's click on submit, you can see that here we get our errors. So in the errors we have this name error that contains please enter name. Now we just have to render this message right here on this field. Okay, so for that I can simply check here that if response data, then we have to set the error message. So first of all I will use here object dot entries, and pass in here the response data dot errors. Now this object dot entries is going to give me the array of this object return back. If I log that here just to show you, if I save it, and now if I click on submit, you can see that we have array of this message that name, and then please enter name, the other message. So what I will do here is, I will simply type in here object dot entries dot for each. I have to set the error for each field. So from here I will simply get my key, you can call it field, and then the error message. Okay, so from this array we will get our field and then the message, and then we have to set in here the error. Remember that we have this set error. From this use form we can use this set error to set error on every field. So I can simply type here that set error. Now in the set error, first of all we have to type in here the field name and then the message. So the field name is going to be this, so I will type here this is going to be field. Okay, and then we have to set in here the message. First of all here we have to give the type. So type is going to be server, which is server side error, and then the message. So message is going to be the message that we have in here. Okay, so object dot entries pass in here the errors, and for each error we have to get the field and then the message, and then we use this set error from the React hook forms, and we will set the message for each field, which is going to be this message. Now we have this error here that argument of string is not assignable to parameter this. To handle that, I will simply go back to my Zord schema and can simply type here export type sign up fields is going to be key of sign up schema. So I can use this sign up fields, copy that, save it from here. Then I can use that here as sign up fields like this. Okay, and for the message, let's put in here as string. Save it, and now let's check. If I click on submit, you can see that here now we are getting the message from the server side that please enter name. And if I go back, now let's also don't pass in here the phone number. If I save it and if I click on submit, you can see that please enter phone number. So these are error messages from the server side. So in this way we can set both error messages from the client side and also from the server side. I hope that you understand. So now we are done with our validation both for the client side and server side. Now we just have to reset the form after submitting. So I will first of all uncomment this, and then I can check in here after this if response data, we have to also check here if response data dot errors, and if response data dot we have here this created. So if it is created, then we simply have to reset. Okay, so let's test it out. If I click on submit, you can see that the form is cleared because is created is now true. So that's it for this video. I hope that you understand. If you have any question, you can post in the comment section. I will try my best to respond there. So we just have used React Hook forms and Zord to validate our forms both for the client side and then the server side, and we are setting the message on this form, and after submitting that we are also resetting the form. Okay, so you can find the source code of this video in the description of this video. I will add the link to the Git repo. So that's it for this video. I will see you in some other video.